Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
This took place all the way back in 2019. Talks about BRICS nations, right? Setting up payment network cutting out the West. A lot of talks about SWIFT recently, so guys, and guess what's happening? Up on the horizon as well, EU on track to ban Bitcoin. So be prepared, guys, because Johnny D sent a tweet out, if Russia decides to use Bitcoin and or other crypto as a way to avoid sanctions, I'm afraid our leaders will have a typical knee-jerk reaction, right? A lot of talks about both out of SWIFT, right? SWIFT, if we go back here, from Digital Asset Investor, reminds me of that Biden National Security Executive Order. Again, what is even happening with that order? Did he just forget, guys? I mean, I was just thinking of that and whether there will be any last minute changes to it, right? Unless they drafted it knowing Russia was invading with certainty. Again, there's actually so much happening. If you go here to National Mess Suite, goodbye SWIFT. China International Interbank Payment System, right? You guys remember this photo? Beginning of quantum financial system before by 2020, which is what, 2022, right? Gold-based XRP, true liquidity as real-time settlement. Remember, right here, gold is back with his new friend, the standard of the new economy. Isn't this insane, guys? Wow. So it seems like gold is coming back, guys. All these things are happening. Now, what's the talks about? From west to east, right? So basically, the power from the west goes to where? The east, probably, right? The old guard to the new guard. Now guys, listen very carefully because this is the most insane video we have seen to this day, right? From XP HODL back in 2019. This was all the way back in 2019, guys. Watch closely, but before we do, if we go down here, listen to this right here. His last name is Swan, and he is wearing a black coat, right? Black Swan.
Two is what's being discussed now, which is the payment processing system. So really what they're competing with is the SWIFT bank system, right? So right now, if you're sending money overseas from a US bank, you have to use, or any Western country, you use that SWIFT system that is set up in Belgium. And that prevents money laundering in theory and all that kind of thing. But what the BRICS nations are doing is saying, well, we don't need to use the SWIFT system because we don't want to be subjected again to US sanctions, because if the US is sanctioning you, you can't move money using that SWIFT system. So what's really interesting is, number one, they're creating a payment system that would go around SWIFT. But how do you do that when you have 5 major countries that all have their own currencies? And one of the ways they're doing that is by using possibly cryptocurrency to do that. That would translate their currencies into a single cryptocurrency that is then used through the system and then formulated, I guess, when it gets into their country back into their own personal currency. So essentially you're taking currency from one, sending it through as a cryptocurrency, and then back on the other end into transforming it into another currency. And that allows them, again, to get around this SWIFT system in a way that no one had really thought about in the past, because crypto already has all of those things in place.
Now, Russia in particular, they've been moving away from the US dollar. In fact, in the last 5 years, Russia actually cut out almost half of its trade payments in US currency, from 92% to about 50%. So what does this say about its relationship, if any, with the West?
Well, I think it says that, again, that Russia specifically really started pushing this after 2014, right? Because in 2014, the U.S. started hitting Moscow with sanctions, and they wanted to punish. And remember how this works. Sanctions are issued against individual countries. They're also issued against leaders in those countries or wealthy people in those countries. And so when leaders in those countries and wealthy people in those countries start getting hit with sanctions, you have a choice. You can either go along with this and comply, or you can say, let's create a system that no longer gives you leverage over us. Well, one thing that the U.S. is doing a very poor job of right now is recognizing that it's not just Russia or just China, but there are 5 major nations and dozens of smaller nations that are very excited about the idea of no longer being under U.S. dominance when it comes to currency, and we're not doing anything about it. At this point, the U.S. is resisting on almost every level any push to change the way the system is currently.
Wow, so this talks about changing the system, right? That's currently in place. Isn't this interesting, guys? Now, in my humble opinion, I don't think they collapse the system, the current financial system today, right? It's going to happen, in my humble opinion, before 2025. That's when the so-called Great Depression hits once again, guys. It's going to be very terrible, obviously, but before that happens, a lot of people will get rich and wealthy once again. Remember when Elon Musk tweeted out, let's make the roaring 20s happen again. right? Don't forget, guys, these people tell you in plain sight before it actually takes place. This is absolutely crazy, guys. Wow. Riddles of sweet out plan to the tip of the tongue, right? What is SWIFT and what would shutting Russia out of it do, right? Again, what would it achieve, right? If we go down here, the UK wants to ban Russia from the International Payments Network. Interesting stuff, guys. Remember what Mr. Poole tweeted out, right? SWIFT. Abrupt change. Wow, it's absolutely mind-boggling to say the least, right? Now, why would a SWIFT ban be so serious? Boris Johnson told MPs it would harm the Russian economy if it were locked out of the SWIFT system, right? Why is the US reluctant to implement a ban? One reason is that the impact on Russian businesses might not be so serious. The head of the large Russian bank said recently he could use other channels for payments such as phones, messaging apps, or emails. Listen to this, guys. Russian banks could also route payments via countries that have not imposed sanctions, such as China, which has set up its own payment system to rival SWIFT. A ban on Russia using SWIFT could accelerate the use of China's rival SIP system, right? Which connects to this right here. Riddlers has already foretold. Oh my. Next comes from David TV. Safe haven, gold or Bitcoin? We found out today, right? A lot of talks about gold recently as well. Remember, gold, these different systems. It's absolutely insane because we see, what would you rather choose, Bitcoin or gold? Now, as soon as the talks of what was happening happened, Bitcoin plummeted because of the uncertainty. Remember, the markets don't like uncertainty. That's the issue. And then gold skyrocketed. Now, I'm pretty sure gold is going to skyrocket when, the collapse actually does come into play. I did hear from someone else that the Fed is buying up everything as we speak because it crashed, right? The markets had a dip. The Fed is buying because they're still going to be prompting up this market to go higher and higher, guys. If we go to the next year from Rock92, businesses would be prohibited from offering any services associated with proof of work cryptocurrencies. Guys, we don't make these things up, right? From EU to on track to ban Bitcoin. Again, we talked about this. Who else in the world talked about Bitcoin has to go away? No one else except the XRP community, guys, and us, right? Again, starting from 2025. Wow, the time frame we have been talking about. Probably earlier. They always say 2030, 2035, all these longer years, but it comes in next year, guys. You see how they play it? Now, EU has moved to ban Bitcoin and other proof of work cryptocurrencies. Again, that's what we have been talking about. Remember, right? Of crypto regulations includes a provision forbidding the environmentally unsustainable consensus mechanism. Again, we talked about the greener narrative. We literally talked about all of these things coming into play, about regulations, how that's the Grim Reaper taking out 99% of these useless coins, 99.something%, right? This means that Bitcoin could become illegal within the European Union starting from January 1st, 2025, right? Again, guys, this is absolutely insane. Told the outlet that the proposal was very likely to be greenlit, right? Giving the green light to take this rule into effect. It's over, guys. It's over with Bitcoin. We have been talking about this. Now, I'll expect her to tweet out, the only way America can pay for a war is with more money printing. We are broke. There's also been a big dump at the start of almost any war followed by a boom, aka wouldn't count the market, stock, or crypto debt yet. Now, like we have been saying, guys, the markets don't like uncertainty, right? They throw out. We can see all the different stuff that happened. Every time it took place, we dumped, and then guess what happened after the fact, right? It pumped every time, guys, literally every time. Crazy stuff to say. Now, crypto will tweet out, BitMEX founders admitted to assisting criminals in laundering over $950 million with their platform. Their punishment, a measly $10 million fine, a slap on the wrist. This is why fraud is so prevalent in the finance, right? Remember to remove your coins from these shady exchanges. 100%, guys. I do have a Ledger affiliate link down in the description below, so you guys can go ahead and buy one, because These exchanges probably has to go as well. Why? Because of the regulations. Look what they have done, guys. All these things, right? And only they get away with it as well. Think about it. A lot of stuff seems to be happening in the crypto sphere today, guys, and definitely the whole world.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.